Good day, everyone.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me running things.
This is a courtroom, not a circus, so we're gonna calm down.
I'm sorry.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed.
This is the bottom line.
I'm excited to free fall into the limitless possibilities with we the people. So many are fearful of the law. They think it's something that works against them.
I think you need to begin to accept responsibility for your mistakes.
We are the people.
Daniela Gonzalez claims her friend blew a covert mission, which cost her both tennis club fees and a wedding.
All rise.
Christine Jane says that if her friend had been patient, instead of sending her to spy, she would probably be engaged.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Gonzalez versus Jane. Ms. Gonzalez, you are suing Ms. Jane for $1,200 for membership fees. You say you paid for the defendant, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And Ms. Jane, you say that the plaintiff is blaming you for her personal problems.
Absolutely.
All right, tell the court what happened, Ms. Gonzalez.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I would like to explain what happened. She used to be one of my closest friends, and we had the plan that she would be my bridesmaid in my wedding.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I was in a relationship with my now ex-boyfriend, Rob, for over 3 years. And the last Valentine's Day, he gave me a card that says, like, get ready for the next step. So I assumed we would get engaged and soon to have a wedding, which is a topic that we always conversate, like my ex-boyfriend and myself. For me, it was the beginning of the rest of my life with the man of my dreams, the man that I wanted to be forever. And it was this place, the gazebo in Huntsville, that I booked a day because it was getting all booked up. So I decided to book a day to also surprise my boyfriend to, you know, when he proposed, then I had already the event place to.
Oh wait, you went and booked a place. You booked a wedding venue before he even asked you to marry him?
Yes.
So
yes,
how does Miss Jane even get involved?
Because once I booked the place, they told me that I could cancel within 90 days. So I had like 90 days to find out when would be engaged, or if it would be soon, or a date to confirm to the gazebo place. So I would have more like a plan. So I thought 90 days would be long enough for me to know from my boyfriend, or if something happened, or if he proposed or something. So Miss Jane, because we were like super close, I know that she's very athletic, she loves to play tennis. Also my boyfriend, and he's a member of the tennis club. So I had the brilliant idea to get membership for Miss Jane. So eventually,
So you figured, let me get my best friend in, because she plays tennis, and she can kind of get some intel on what is going on and why have you not asked me to marry you?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my initial idea, and that was what she agreed to. That she loved the idea because she would be playing tennis, which is something that she loves to do. And then
so she had to pay the club fees. You had to pay
I had to pay the club fees.
You had to pay the club fees for her to be able to have a membership to play tennis with your boyfriend all the time.
Yes.
So you agreed to this, Miss Jane?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you all have any type of written agreement that this was your plan?
I had in the exhibits that I present to you the text message when I remind her, like, please remember that you have to ask my boyfriend, that you have to find out when it's going to be the day.
Where are these text messages? Did you submit them to the court, or do you have them with you now?
Yes, I have it here. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. So in these text messages is where you start saying.
In the number 1.
Okay, so you say you need a favor.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And
you pay for this tennis place.
Yeah, I'm suggesting there, like, if she agrees, like, if I pay for a month of tennis, and then she says, like, I'm happy to help. So that's our verbal agreement on a text message.
So did you go in, Miss Jane, and start getting information and get next to him so you can figure out what are his plans for it?
Yeah, it takes a little longer than Daniela has in her head. I can't just go into there and be like, hey, Rob, want to play a game of tennis, and then, oh, by the way, what date and time are you proposing to my friend?
So even though I don't agree with this plan, what information did you get, Ms. Jane, since you agreed to do it?
Well, the first week I didn't get any information, and I was playing tennis with Rob at this point 4 days a week. But it just didn't feel like the right time to really dive in. I knew him a little bit, but just kind of face value. And I knew if I was just like pounding him with the questions about when he's going to propose, he's going to get suspicious.
Coming up.
Why are you crying?
Because I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend anymore, and I'm not going to get married.
And later.
Ms. Hank, you seem to really refute Mr. Pike's testimony, your neighbor.
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is he has no proof that it was my children that ran his bill up.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Daniela Gonzalez, who blames her ex-friend Christine Jane for a failed engagement.
And then you start saying, Ms. Gonzalez, that she betrayed you because why?
She started talking to him, and she was communicating to me oh, I'm talking to Rob, everything is going great, but not really information. So at some point, they went together to have lunch, and Rob shared information with her, that he would propose me, that he had a ring, that I was the love of his life.
So, why are you crying?
Because I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend anymore, and I'm not going to get married.
And you felt like what? Your friend went in there and she was supposed to get the information and she wasn't getting the information that you needed or that you wanted to hear?
When she didn't want to keep on going to the point that I needed to know in order to keep the gazebo place, she asked me for another month of membership.
I see that. I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Rob kept digging for info.
And then I told her, listen, I cannot do it, but you're free to pay the other month and keep on playing tennis with Rob. And then.
Oh, you wanted her to pay for the other month if she needed it.
because I couldn't do it anymore, Your Honor. I already paid, I booked the gazebo for the wedding, and I already paid the first month, and I just couldn't do it.
I don't know why you did any of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sitting here trying to figure out. And then why are you asking her for another month, Ms. Jane?
I knew that Rob would get suspicious if we're playing 4 days a week all that time, and I'm bringing up things about the proposal, and then I just drop off the face of the earth, I did my job. My job was to find out when he was going to propose. The answer to that was soon. He wasn't giving me any dates, but I did tell Daniela.
I see in these text messages, at some point he found out. Did you tell him?
I did tell him because of the constant hounding back and forth.
And so what did you say?
I'm a really bad liar, Your Honor. When I get under pressure, I just kind of freeze up.
Yeah, you sent the wrong woman in for the job, Ms.
And
Gonzalez.
I get really, really nervous.
She was not ready for the covert operation.
So
she said if you know your best friend and she's a bridesmaid, you know which ones are able to have a poker face and which ones aren't. You were that desperate?
It's not desperate. I really had all my faith on my marriage with him.
No.
Yeah.
No. And even though this isn't a legal principle, it's what this case hinges on. You didn't have faith in your relationship with him. You went out and booked a venue, signed your best friend up for $1,200 at a tennis club because you wanted this to happen.
I wanted that to happen, but most important because I wanted to have a beautiful surprise for him. And
what is the surprise?
The surprise that I had the venue of our dreams already booked, and
men don't care nothing about no venue. You wanted to bring this into fruition so desperately, you started trying to make things happen by paying for things and trying to tip the scales of fate by all of these actions, and you ended up getting found out by your boyfriend. And I saw in the text messages he was disgusted by the whole thing. Is that correct, Ms. Jane?
That's correct. I would like to submit some evidence.
Let me see that, because I'm done, because I know what's going on here.
This just This just shows, in my opinion, that I did what was asked of me, though it was very hard and I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I did relay the message to Daniela about her proposal on page 1. I told her what kind of ring she was going to get.
So you did get some information.
I did.
And you did find out things that you relayed.
Yes.
The only problem is at some point he figured out, why you keep asking me all this?
And then I warned her on page 2. You can see that I said, Daniela, he's gonna catch on to us, like she might regret this.
Yeah, but
and she takes that as a threat, but I'm not threatening her.
I felt also pressure that she wanted another month.
Oh, girl, please, stop this nonsense. Nobody wants to play tennis that bad. I think she was trying to be a friend to you. And what she was trying to say is, if you want me in here and you want me figuring out this information, I cannot keep pouncing on him day in and day out. Now you crying, Miss Jane. Why? You up because you're upset because your friendship got destroyed?
I lost my best friend and I feel used and I feel like maybe I was just a pawn in her scheme. Thank you very much. To get just a pawn in her scheme.
You just getting the short end of the stick everywhere. Even the tissue didn't come out. Poor thing, poor Miss Jane. Lord have mercy.
I need to set my boundaries a little bit better and stick to them and not say yes to everything that my friends ask me to do.
So you've had time to think about this.
Yeah.
You wanted to be the bridesmaid that came in with the information. And what you know ultimately is you lost your best friend over it because she's mad at you now. You lost your boyfriend because he was disgusted because he don't want to marry some calculating Inspector Gadget. Right?
Yes,
and it's too often that people block their own blessings so they won't get out of their own way. You got in your own way. And the only person you have to be angry about is yourself. Therefore, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Daniela, I'm so sorry, but you ruined your own marriage. You sabotaged yourself.
I think you were just jealous when he showed you the ring.
Coming up.
A lot of the things we think our children won't do, they do.
And you're right about that, Your Honor, but the morning that he came banging on my door, like, he didn't even ask if we did it. He automatically assumed that it was my kids that did it.
You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. Next time on We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
Why are you crying?
Because I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend anymore, and I'm not gonna get married.
And you felt like what? Your friend went in there and she was supposed to get the information and she wasn't getting the information. Now you crying, Miss Jane.
I lost my best friend and I feel used and I feel like maybe I was just a pawn in her scheme.
Next time on We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
Why are you crying?
Because I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend anymore, and I'm not gonna get married.
I was angry, but it wasn't the end of the world until I got my water bill. The water bill kind of pushed it over the edge.
You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. Gregory Pike claims his water bill soared after his neighbor's kids used his garden hose for a water balloon fight. Tasha Hank says Mr. Pike was out of town for a month, so anyone could have left the water running.
Good day, everyone. This is the case of Pike versus Hank. Mr. Pike, you are suing Ms. Hank for $300 for excessive water fees, and the defendant, Ms. Hank, you say you are not responsible. All right, so where do these water charges come from, Mr. Pike? Tell me what's going on.
You know, I came home one day a couple of weeks ago, and my hose on my front lawn was running, constantly running. The whole front lawn was flooded. I had no idea where it was from. I turned off the hose. I saw some rubber, like from balloons, rubber fragments on my lawn and my adjacent neighbor's lawn. And I surmised at that point that they must have had a water balloon fight and that they used my hose.
Who's they?
They meaning her children.
All right, so you all are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
You live right next door or on the same block?
Right next door.
So how many children do you have, Ms. Hank?
I have 4, Your Honor.
You have 4 children. How
Yep.
many boys, how many girls?
I have 2 boys and 2 girls. I have 2 older girls. My oldest 15 years old who are watching the kids. So there's no way.
All right, so your bill is then high. Your water bill is high because of that?
That's correct.
How much has it jumped up?
Well, it went from $52 to $300.
Do you have evidence of that?
I do. I have the water bill.
May I see that, please?
Yeah.
So do you have a picture of where your houses sit next to one another as well?
That's also within the folder, yes. Yes, Your Honor.
So your water bill is usually $50-something,
The month before, correct.
and now it's $300.
That's correct.
Coming up,
I offered to give him $50 towards his bill, and he said, no, you're going to pay for the whole $300. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay for your whole water bill.
you're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with a dispute between Gregory Pike and his neighbor Tasha Hank over an excessive water bill.
You've never known them to have the occasion to use Mr. Pike's hose.
Well, there was a time that they used his hose before.
And why would they use his if yours is available?
Well, they asked, we were washing our car, I have 4 kids, and the 2 younger ones wanted to help out, so they wanted to use an extra hose. They went over to his place and asked him if they could use it. He said, yeah.
You seem to really refute Mr. Pike's testimony, your neighbor.
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is he has no proof that it was my children that ran his bill up. I mean, it's the summer. I mean, he was out of town last month. There was no way that my teenage children would leave
Your
his
Honor,
water hose on.
I think I had enough evidence.
I don't think that they would ever do that. I mean, they were pretty good babysitters.
You're not thinking they would do that is a completely different thing than them doing it. I mean, I am a mother. A lot of the things we think our children won't do, they do.
And you're right about that, Your Honor, but the morning that he came banging on my door, like, he didn't even ask if we did it. He automatically assumed that it was my kids that did it. He knocked on my door, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting the kids ready for school. And he goes, your kids left my water hose on. So immediately, I go to my older, Amber, and I say, hey, did you guys go to Mr. Pike's house yesterday with this water balloon? And she said, no, we didn't. So, I mean, I'm going to take her testimony over his. His is an assumption.
I was angry, but it wasn't the end of the world until I got my water bill. The water bill kind of pushed it over the edge.
Let's say the kids did use his hose. All right, fine. I offered to give him $50 towards his bill, and he said, no, you're going to pay for the whole $300. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay for your whole water bill. Right. No.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns. You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
This is one of these tough cases where not enough has been done to really prove the case in court. It is unfortunate that you have a bill that is 4 times higher than what it usually is, but you have no evidence that it is her kids that were the ones who turned the water hose on. Could you suspect? Of course, but suspicion is not sufficient evidence in court. We've got to find a way for you all to become neighbors. Will you still give them the $50?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Pike, you have not come into court with sufficient evidence to prove that her kids are the one that left your water hose on, but that's your neighbor. If she offers you $50 towards the bill and you can agree to that, just take it. It is the opinion of this court that the judgment will be for the plaintiff in the amount of $50 that Ms. Hank already offered and she's still willing to pay. And please, y'all, get back to being neighbors. She offered it, accept it. Judgment for the plaintiff for $50. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $50. This has been a production of Allen Media Group.